Jimmy Casket!
Oh my god!
Jimmy Casket! Jimmy Casket!
That scared me!
Oh my god! Jimmy's going down so fast. Wait, what?
What?
You're down.
Glitch!
Did Jimmy Casket just crash your game?
Jimmy Casket crashed my game!
Yep. That was me 7 years ago on my 12th birthday party, where I got a bunch of my friends together to play Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. I have changed a lot since then. I cut and dyed my hair. My art style developed and my art has been getting a lot better since it was back then. I had an emo phase that I'm not quite sure has ended yet. I gained weight. I grew half an inch. I am now 5'2". And most recently I had surgery and had a few days to reflect on my life and watch Glee and hurt myself laughing at Whose Lines in any way when I wasn't healed enough to laugh. Oh, I am also an adult now. I am in college. I'm 19 years old. I am no longer that annoying middle schooler that went to a performing arts school. Now, I discovered Five Nights at Freddy's the summer before my 6th grade, when one of my friends shared a video on Instagram of the Duck song that cut to Chica screaming because back then we thought she was a duck. Even though her name is Chica. Anyway, I didn't touch Instagram for months after that. That video scared the shit out of me.
A duck walked up to a lemonade stand and he said to the man, "Run in the stand."
I like to brag that I'm not easily scared.
And since she is easily scared, unlike me.
Not just easily scared, terrified. I'm terrified.
But that isn't entirely true. I'm just scared of specific things. Chase sequences, uncanny valley stuff. Jump scares used to have a long-term effect, but now at my age, at the age I am now, it's more of a short-term, and then it's gone. And mascots. I have always been terrified of mascots and animatronics. I hated Chuck E. Cheese. I hated when I went to Disneyland and one of the cartoon character mascots would walk out. The people that were in costumes as the human characters were fine, but the second Mickey Mouse came in, I was gone. There was a specific moment at the mall where there was someone dressed as the Easter Bunny near the elevator, and they stood so perfectly still that both my mom and I thought that they were a giant stuffed animal. And so when they slowly turned their head towards us, I bolted. I was screaming, I was crying, it was a terrible experience. So safe to say, Five Nights at Freddy's hit a specific fear of mine, and it did not leave my brain. It was terrifying to me because that's just how I saw animatronics anyway. I didn't see them as fun entertainment for kids. I saw them as secret murder machines. So in comes the first horror media to really scare me, and it left a mark. I never forgot that video my friend shared on Instagram, which, by the way, was also the first time I ever heard the Duck song. So when my other friend wanted to show me the Duck song, I begged him not to show me the video because I thought I knew what was in it. So when we watched it and it was perfectly normal, I got to thinking, what was that video then? What was that screamer from? And that's when, 6th grade, at my performing arts school where we didn't have a building, it was just a bunch of portables, I overheard a very similar sounding scream from the laptop of this one kid that would later become our Rachel Berry without the ego and bratty attitude, with all of my other classmates gathered around him. So I go over, and that's where the video was from. I have found where that screamer video was from. And then the game quickly took over my life. And in retrospect, it was absolutely an autistic special interest. At first, I was trying to avoid this game. The curiosity got the better of me, and you want to know what video officially introduced me to Five Nights at Freddy's? It wasn't Markiplier, it wasn't Yummy Mash, it wasn't any of those big gaming YouTubers or Game Theory. It was Dan and Phil on their Dead Gaming channel. The one where Dan fell off his chair.
I mean, really, how much would it cost them to invest in a good camera these days? Like, what, a webcam's like £5? Oh my god!
And then I would find out that some of my friends in my art class that we were working on Warrior Cat stuff with also liked this game. And one of these friends had an OC named Aqua Jackson. I believe her animatronic form was a silver fox. And so my friends and I would add to their stories with our own characters. Mine was Kitty Angel, who was just the animatronic version of my Warrior Cat's OC. Now you know why my name is like that on all the sites I can't change my username on. This became a comic series we were working on called FNAF Adventures. I know, terrible name. We were 11, okay? I was also the only one of my friends that didn't attach my OC to a love interest that existed in the franchise. I made another original character to ship my first OC with, while all my friends took an existing FNAF character and shipped their obviously self-insert characters with them. Aqua was with Foxy, Thorn was with Golden Freddy, Sam was with Bonnie, and then we shipped Freddy and Chica together because we didn't have enough characters to ship the two of them with because we didn't have enough friends, and also I didn't want to ship my character with an existing character. The OC that I made my character have a crush on didn't even like her back. It wasn't even mutual. A romantic moment? Possibly. We had this grand idea for the comic. At first we planned it to be more of an episodic thing, like those little comic strips you get in newspapers that didn't really connect to each other or have an overarching storyline. But then Scott kept releasing more FNAF and we couldn't keep up. But with the second game, the community, and by community I mean Sega and Hawks, discovered the shadow animatronics. And our imagination ran wild. As Axe joined the friend group the next year, so FNAF Adventures changed a lot. We still kept the name, even though we entered our edgelord phase where it was just a giant gore fest where no one was happy. And all of that started with the shadow animatronics, and we introduced our first villains. But why am I talking about this FNAF fanfic so much? This fanfic is why I'm an artist. Sure, I wrote and drew stuff for Warrior Cats, but it was Five Nights at Freddy's that got me really into writing a story and making characters for this story and having something going on in this fictional world I was building. But also with Warrior Cats, I was only drawing cats. Five Nights at Freddy's opened my eyes to drawing other things. And sure, my art still sucked, but I have gotten a lot better. And it's because of FNAF that I started really drawing. I started actually wanting to draw things. And I had this story to draw for. It was a dumb story, but it was a story, and we didn't think it was dumb at the time. And as we grew and FNAF grew, the story did too. It exited out of the edgelord phase we were in and started becoming more grounded and nuanced, which doesn't really say much because we were still in middle school when Sister Location came out and all this started happening. We started distancing from FNAF, really. And this story continued to change until it had nothing to do with FNAF. The story was renamed to Clash, all of our characters became human again, and a lot changed with it. Angel transgender. Sam was removed from the story, but then added back in when Trin and I thought of turning her edginess into just being a menace. And I am still working on this story. I still hold it very close to my heart. This is the one story I've never dropped. I've never dropped it and then picked it back up again. I have been working on this since 6th grade. All of the characters that were inserts of YouTubers completely changed. Markiplier became Carl, Jacksepticeye became Harry, Jax Films and Thomas Sanders were transferred to the sister show I'm working on for it, Outside Perspective, and became Colin and Hankin. And while there are things I've kept to kind of play homage to what we thought was cool when we were 11, and some of these characters still look similar to the YouTubers they were originally based on. And there's still a pizzeria. And Buster and Yadira Myra and Scotty, they're still heavily inspired by Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie. Don't ask about Foxy, he was removed entirely. I couldn't find a way to fit him in. And I have been making characters and stories ever since Clash. I have Outside Perspective that takes place in the same universe in the same time but follows different characters trying to investigate what's going on in Clash. I have The Show Must Go On about a high school glee club that honestly has some of my favorite characters I've ever written. I have a ghost hunting animated parody based on shows like BuzzFeed Unsolved. And most recently, I went back to what started all of this. My fears. Like I've used my fear of animatronics to fuel my interest in Five Nights at Freddy's, which then made Clash. I am now taking my kinophobia and making a story based on the concept of the backrooms. So yeah, I have FNAF to thank for my art and my creativity and why I'm in film school right now. Because Five Nights at Freddy's made me want to be a writer. And made me want to make things on TV and movies and get my art out there, sharing my stuff online. I have Five Nights at Freddy's to thank for the friends that I've made. Trinity, Axe, Riley, Sarah. They were all with me writing Clash. And I'm very thankful that Riley handed me the story to take over. So I have Five Nights at Freddy's to really thank for everything. I still even have some posters of Five Nights at Freddy's still hanging up in this room, even though I've made it well past my FNAF phase. Also, the character Taylor in Clash was based on this YouTuber that I remember going by the name of Cream, and like his real name was Cream with a K. And I can't find this guy anywhere. Am I having a Candle Cove moment? Where is any source of this man existing? I can't find him anywhere. If anyone knows a YouTuber that played like horror games and stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's and had the real name Cream, please tell me. I feel like I'm going mad trying to find this guy. So, yeah, thank you for listening to me talk about Five Nights at Freddy's and how it changed my life for the better. And although it's not exactly that much in my life now, Clash is still here because of that game. And that's one of the big things I'm working on right now. So. Also, I forgot to mention this in the video, but my friends and I wanted to make a FNAF fan game that took place at our school back when it was just portables. We quickly dropped the idea, but it was pretty funny that we thought our school was interesting enough to warrant a fan game.